ॐ नमश्चण्डिकायै या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मोक्षरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः. See, when we look at Devi, I think you all put it to you mute, otherwise it's echoing. You put us on mute. Put all of you on mute, then it will not echo. Thank you. So this Devi is the other half of our Lord, whichever God you may take, whether it is Shiva, whether it is Narayana, whether it is Brahmaji, whether it is Skanda. And if in our life God realization is the goal, if surrender to the Lord is our goal in life, without Devi's Ashirwad, we cannot move ahead. Without her Ashirwad, we cannot move ahead. Why is that? Because Devi is the potentiality, she is the Shakti who gives the form to the Parabrahma Paramatma, as Shiva, as Vishnu, as Brahmaji, as the whole world. It is the Devi's doing. It is not the Parabrahma. Parabrahma Paramatma, he is Akarta. You understand that? He is the non-doer. He cannot do anything. Whatever doing is going on, whatever Kriya is going on, it is the Kriya of our Shakti, our Mata. So she makes the Lord, the way we see him, the way we interact with him, as Vishnu, as Lord Shiva, as any other gods, she makes him available to us in that particular form. See? And therefore, in our journey to the Lord, to the surrender to the law or to the loka of the Lord, without the grace of Shakti, we cannot get there. It is not that we have to control the Shakti. It is not that we have to guide the Shakti. We need her blessings, not we. In yoga, we control the body by doing asanas. In pranayama, we control the breath through pranayama. In some people, in japa, they control the thoughts by doing japa. Instead, it should be the other way around. And what is that? While remembering the Shakti, while invoking the blessings of the Shakti Mata, yoga must happen. While invoking the mother, the pranayam must happen. When you chant these mantras as you are chanting, here you are chanting one by one, but when you chant by yourself, especially that Rupam Dehi Jayam Devi, it's a continuous pranayam begins. Ha, hum, va, hum, in the last Kunjika Stotram also, it's so beautiful. And when you are doing it by yourself as a parayan, a pranayam sets in. That is natural pranayam. That is not a forced pranayam. Whereas when we do pranayam, we are controlling the breath. Here we are not controlling the breath. Here we are remembering the Devi with bhav, with ekagrata, and while interacting with her through these words, an automatic pranayam is beginning, is happening, and that pranayama then dulls our mind, it quietens our mind, so that the Shakti, which is moving from Mooladhara to Sahasrar, it starts moving. Our thinking is the obstacle along the way. And how to remove that obstacle along the way, along the various chakras? Are these all Rakshasas? They are the obstacles. All the different chapters. And as we keep chanting her with bhav, that is very important, not mechanically, with bhav. As we chant her name, as we invoke her within ourselves, all these obstacles in the form of Rakshasas who want to maintain objectivity, who do not want us to surrender, who want to control, the world, who want to control our mind, who want to control the energies and make us objective in nature. They all are destroyed one by one, and eventually the Shakti finds union with her beloved at the Sahasrar. That is the journey that is indicated. That is my understanding I am taking. Another way to look at it is, most of the times people talk about formless reality in Advait. In Dvait, we say Shiva Shakti. Shiva is the powerful one, Shakti is the other part. Narayana is the powerful one, he is the Purusha, and Lakshmi is the better half. But when we come from the Shakti point of view, in Adhyatma Ramayana, I don't know if you have heard of Adhyatma Ramayana, but Adhyatma Ramayana was written by our Ved Vyasji Maharaj. In that first chapter called Ram Hridayam, in that Ram Hridayam, Sita ji, who is again Ram, Sita, Purusha Prakriti or Purusha Shakti or Shiva Shakti, whichever way you put it, she tells, Lord Shiva tells Parvati, because Parvati asks Lord Shiva, I am such a beautiful one, I am sitting in front of you, why don't you look at me, why you are always meditating, whom do you meditate upon? He says, I meditate on Sri Ram. He says, who is this Ram, what is his greatness, why is he more beautiful than I am? Parvati is asking, she is thinking, she wants his attention. So Shivji says, I'll tell you. So tell me something more about Ram. Who? Parvati ji asks, and she doesn't ask that you have to tell me because you are my husband. She says, I am requesting you and I am eager to know about the Ramchandra ji whom you are always meditating upon. No jealousy, no competition, no comparison. And when she asks in a proper manner by sitting at the feet of Lord Shiva as a Shishya, she asks. And Lord Shiva then graces her with the knowledge. And there she says, before I tell you the story of Ramchandra ji, I will tell you Ram Hridayam. And in that Ram Hridayam, he starts that Sita ji is telling. What is Sita ji telling? There again the story begins. Someone asks and Sita ji is answering, who is this Ram? And Sita ji says, Ram, he is the Parabrahma Paramatma. Sita ji is saying, Shakti is saying, he is the Parabrahma Paramatma. All his qualities I have given him. If you see Ram as a Dasharath Nandan, I made him to be born as Dasharath Nandan. If you see him as the slayer of Tadka, Subahu, Marich, etc., I made him do it. You see that Ram did Ahalya Udhar, I made him do it. If you see Ramchandra ji as going to sannyas, I created those circumstances. You see Ramchandra ji as killing Ravana, I made him do it. In other words, Ramchandra ji cannot do anything without our Shri or Shakti or Sita. In other words, Shivji also cannot do anything without Parvati ji. So remember, here the important principle is, Purusha principle is akarta. It's the non-doer. It cannot do anything. All doing happens. We can use the word Shakti, we can use the word Maya, we can use the word energy, we can use the word Avidya, you can use the word Kundalini, whichever way. So many different words are there. At a subjective level, when you are looking at yourself, all doing takes place only in the mind. The Atmic principle is the akarta principle. It does not do anything. See, this is, and this is represented. If you see, if you have been to Calcutta, there you will see Kali Mata with the tongue out and in the ferocious form standing on Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is lying on the floor and her foot is on the Lord Shiva. And this is the beautiful, this only we find in Sanatan Dharma in different ways. And what does the people say? How can this be? This is blasphemy. This is not allowed. Yeah, blah, blah. We also thought that way, but till our teacher told us. And what did he tell us? That Lord Shiva is the substratum. Lord Shiva is the foundation. Lord Shiva is the basis on which the Shakti is standing. And conversely, Lord Shakti is that, as I told you already before, that it is because of the Shakti that Parabrahma Paramatma is getting the form. Whether he gets the form as Narayana or Shiva or Ganapati or Kartikeya or Brahmaji, does not matter. But the principle is the same. You are getting so apply it object subjectively, that we are getting form, we think we are the form only by our mind. What is our essence? Our essence is formless. Atma is formless. Atma is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarup. Atma is Satchidanand Swarup. Atma is unmanifest. It cannot be seen, but it is. Then who gives this form to it? It is our mind which gives the form. That Shakti, when we study Durga Saptashati, that Shakti is the representing the total power, the total mind. Ours is the individual mind. Just like individual space and total space are not separate to each other, similarly, individual mind and total mind are not separate to each other. Shakti is the same. Please put it to mute, then it will, otherwise it echoes. So Shakti is the same, whether it is expressing as individual mind or it is expressing as the total mind. When it expresses as the total mind, we call it as Parvati. With reference to certain god, we call it as Parvati, Lakshmi, Saraswati, etc. See? And when we refer it at the individual level, we call it our mind. And what is the invocation of this energy through Durga Saptashati? It is as the Shakti moves through the Sapta Chakras, the Kundalini Chakras, it starts expanding. And what is its expansion? Its expansion is Mooladhar is the Prithvi Tattva. Swadhishthan is the Jala Tattva. Manipur is the Agni Tattva. Anahat is the Vayu Tattva. Vishuddhi Chakra is the Akasha Tattva. Agya Chakra is the Ardhanarish Tattva. And Sahasrar is the total and the all-encompassing Ishvara, that where the Shakti is unmanifest and yet is all-inclusive. So this must happen, this growth. So as she keeps moving, Earth is the grossest. It is Sthula. Earth, Prithvi Tattva is, Prithvi is Sthula. Something compared to Prithvi, something Sthul is Jala Tattva. Compared to Jala Tattva, Agni Tattva is more Sukshma. Compared to Agni Tattva, Vayu Tattva is more Sukshma. Compared to Vayu Tattva, Akash Tattva is more Sukshma. Compared to Akasha Tattva, the what you call the Ardhanarishwar, he is Sukshma. And in this manner, continuous expansion. The Shakti she wants to be one with the divine. She wants to be one with her beloved. Just like a river flows from the mountains to the ocean to merge into to be one with the ocean and lose herself in the ocean, lose all her identity. Similarly, this Shakti, which is stuck at Shakti, again, don't forget, it's our mind. Where is the mind stuck? In Sthula Sharir. It is stuck. That is Prithvi Tattva. It is stuck in Sthula Sharir. It is waiting to be released from this bondage of Sthula and wants to rush back to the Sukshmati Shukshma, and that is her beloved, the Sahasrar. And it does that every day. Naturally, it does that every day when she goes to sleep. When you go to sleep, the Shakti goes back to her beloved. You don't know it, that's all. But when we are in the waking, in the Jagrata Avastha, we have been programmed in such a way that we make everything simple, complicated. so we have to read such a long Durga Saptashati in order to invoke. All you need is bring your attention to the Sahasrar. Automatically the Shakti will start moving upwards, and live a life of equanimity, live a life of non-reaction, live a life of total acceptance, live a life as prasad of Lord. Then automatically this Shakti, effortlessly, you won't even come to know that the Shakti has come and merged into the divine. And such a person, when he comes to where the Shakti and the Purusha or Shiva and the Shakti come together, where Narayana and Lakshmi come together, or the Shakti has merged into her beloved, such a person is called as the, how should I say, he enters into the Sahaja Bhav. Because once the Shakti has merged consciously into the Purusha Tattva, Purusha principle, thereafter, if you notice, every time the Shakti does not listen to her husband, every time Parvati doesn't listen to Shivji, for example, a very famous example like Sati, she did not listen to Shivji and went to Daksha Yagya. What happened to her? She had to take birth again, isn't it? As Uma. And there are, if you read Shiva Puran or you read Devi Puran, in that, every time she does not listen to her beloved husband, whom she loves very much, whom she is not separate from, but she does somehow, for some reason, she does not listen to him. Every time she doesn't listen to him, she has to take birth somewhere else and find her way back to her beloved. Now apply that on yourself. Every time our attention of our mind is not on the divine principle within, on the Lord in our mind, or on the Sahasrar, whichever way you put it, on Shiva or Narayana or Vishnu, every time we forget the Lord, the mind, which is nothing but Shakti, it goes back to the Sthul. It has to start the journey all over again. And that journey is again, so many obstacles and difficulties come along the way in order to merge into the divine for the Shakti. Yet another way. Now I'll tell you another way, as Jnaneshwar Maharaj explains. He explains, this is a higher way of looking at it. This is from the Ishvara Advaivad point of view. There, the Shakti, Shiva and Shakti, the one Parama Shiva, he desires to experience himself, he desires to see himself, he appears as Shiva and Shakti. Now Shakti is sitting there, and she sees that Shiva is always in meditation. He is never looking at her. Every woman, she is so nicely decked, all ornaments, beautiful sari, beautiful hairstyle, all lipstick, wipstick, collyrium, kajal, and everything is there. But Shiva, Lord Shiva, who is the greatest sannyasi, he doesn't look at her. Now what she does to get her attention, get his attention? What do? You make nice food to get your husband's attention. So what did she do? She did not prepare food. She started manifesting. She started, the nature of Shakti is avyakta and what is the other word, Amma? Manifestation? Vyakta and avyakta. Vyakta and avyakta. So the nature of Shakti is Vyakta. Vyakta is expression and avyakta is no expression. So she starts expressing. She starts dancing. The first expression of hers is Sattva Rajas Tamas. And as she expands, the moment she starts expanding, that very moment, Lord Shiva starts opening his eyes. As she keeps multiplying more and more and more, the Lord Shiva keeps opening his eyes more and more and more. When she has fully manifested as the world, at that very moment, Lord Shiva, who is looking at his Shakti, he says, "Oh my God, what a beauty!" Whenever we look at something beautiful, what happens? When you go and look at the Balaji Tirupati in, what do? You traveled so far, you walked all the steps up and you go in front of him, the policemen are pushing you, you look at the Balaji and you close your eyes, don't you? You walk for 14 kilometers and reach Kedarnath and you look at the Kedareshwar, and the moment you look at Kedareshwar, wow, I have come to Kedareshwar, and you close your eyes. Shivji looks at his wife, my God, she's my wife, she's so beautiful with all this variety, and he closes his eyes again and goes back into meditation. This is exactly what is happening to us. Every morning, the mind manifests, becomes Vyakta. Mind is Shakti, don't forget. Mind manifests. It's when you wake up in the morning, the mind is only a little bit aware of everything. Slowly, the world enters into it, and slowly, it expands. By afternoon, it is fully expanded, maybe after 2-3 coffees, after breakfast, and after living the whole day, the Purusha within, the Shiva within, he is looking at, wow. And naturally, when she has fully manifested, what do you do every night? What does the mind do every night? Go back to become avyakta. It goes back to unmanifestation, isn't it? If we can watch this process, without reaction, so which means during our living life, we do not react to how life is unfolding itself. If we flow with life, if we don't react to life, if we don't hold on to life, if we don't get attached to life, then you see, it doesn't take many years. Within one day, it is possible for us means for the mind to merge back into its source. And where the mind merges back into the source, just as every day in sleep the mind goes back to the source, we don't know it, that's a different matter, but it becomes refreshed and again wakes up next day. Similarly, when the Shakti merges back into her beloved, and then again when she manifests, the whole world is divine. The whole world is fresh. Every moment is fresh because now she has touched the divine. And whenever something is touched with divine, it it becomes divine, just like a like a metal. When it touches the magnet, it also starts having the magnetic qualities. Anything touches the philosopher's stone, it also becomes gold. You see, same way this Shakti also, when it touches the divine, comes back to its what you call, to her beloved, to the divine. Then everything is, she realizes her true nature, meaning our mind realizes its true nature, that I am a part, an expression, I am the other half of the Purusha principle. Right now we feel mind is important, mind means it is an instrument, but this mind is the all pervasive Shakti. It is not a problem for us. We have not taken the mind to be divine. We take the mind as a problem. When we take the mind to be the divine, that means the better half of the Shiva Shakti principle, and that Shiva Shakti are coming from where? From the Parama Shiva. That one Parama Shiva, Parabrahma, Paramatma alone has become Shiva Shakti. So where has this aham and idam, where has this Purusha and Prakriti, me and my mind, where has this come from? I and the mind, where has it come from? It has come from the divine principle alone, is expressing as both. And when this union comes about, that union, the result of this union is the transformation of our vision. For this transformation of vision, all the scriptures are written, including Durga Saptashati, a different approach from the Shakti point of view, from the Kundalini point of view. In Shankaracharya writes the same way, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra writes the same thing, the Jnaneshwar Maharaj writes the same thing. All Mahatmas, whoever have composed anything, they only want, out of love for the whole thing, because they have realized that everything is divine. And if people are behaving contrary to divinity, the compassion, the love, because that is their natural state, they want to share in some way, that they also get the vision that they are established in. And in this way, this Shakti principle can be, if we understand it correctly, in this wholesome manner, it can be a boon, it can be beneficial, and it can grace us to come to realize the divine. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Thank you for allowing me.
No, Swamiji. I am very fortunate to listen to your lovely words. Very nice.